Thank you, everyone, for being out here, and great to follow our Progressive Caucus leader, Camilla Japal. Let me just put this very simply. It is absolutely absurd that we are the only democracy that forces young people to go thousands of dollars in debt to get an education. What other country does this? What other country? I ask you to name any other country where you have $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 of debt simply to get an education. Now, the other argument they say of canceling student loans, the people who paid their student loans back aren't going to want the student loans canceled. How many people have heard that argument? Let me tell you something. I took out $100,000 of student loans. I paid them back. I have absolutely no problem with forgiving the student loans of those who haven't been as fortunate to pay them back. And most people who paid back the student loans have the same view. Woo! Talk to them. They know how burdensome it was. They remember when they took out those loans. Just because they've had the good fortune of being in the right place to be able to pay them back doesn't mean that they don't recognize that no one should have that kind of debt. Now, the president has the authority. The president has the authority to cancel the student loans. We know this. We know this because he's canceled student loans for some people. So if he can cancel it for some, why can't he cancel it for everyone? And we know he's forgiven some of the student debt already because the time value of money, if you say you don't have to pay it back, that means you have some forgiveness. So it's not a question of his authority. He's already shown he has the authority. The question is one of values. The question is, are we going to stand with people who have come from the working class, middle class, because those are most of the folks who have student loans. I get so upset when they say, oh, this is not a working class issue. This is just a middle class, upper middle class issue. As if working class kids don't go to college? As if working class kids don't have vocational education? As if working class kids don't have huge debt? The people who have the most student debt in this country are those who have the least wealth. It's not those who are in the upper middle class or the professional class. Student debt forgiveness is one of the biggest steps we can do to overcome the racial wealth gap, that we can take to overcome the difference in wealth between the working class and the upper middle class and those who are billionaires. And how are we going to pay for it? Well, how about we start having billionaires pay a fair tax, and those who don't pay a fair tax, so we can invest in the education of our country. I'm going around the country talking to young people. This is the first thing that comes up, the debt that we're burdening them with. And I guess I want to end with this, is just think about what we're doing to young people in this country. That they're 20, 23, 24 years old, and you all know this, and you have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 of debt, and then we want people to believe in the American dream. How are you going to start a family? How are you going to get a house? How are you going to have aspiration? And then when you meet people 60, 65, still paying off student debt. That's not the American dream. We should commit from this administration on that no American should go into debt simply to get an education in this country. And I want to thank you for being out here. I want to thank you for the movement that you have created. We will get this done with your activism, your passion, your vision. So thank you for what you're doing. This has to be one of our highest priorities, along with climate, before the midterms.